everyone, welcome to the webinar that we are hosting for you guys today, all on the Stahls Vinyl Designer. If you're not familiar with what the Stahls Vinyl Designer is, we are going to dive into that and give a brief overview before we actually go in and have Sarah start creating artwork and showing us how that vinyl designer works. I see a lot of you guys commenting in throughout the broadcast. Be sure to type in any questions that you have, because we're going to be visiting that a lot. We're keeping this very interactive, so definitely jump in and ask questions. We'll be monitoring that. I'm Jenna. For those of you that were expecting Josh today for the webinar, I'll be filling in for him. And Sarah, do you want to take a moment to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah. And again, thank you, Jenna, for stepping in at the last minute. And I'm sure you guys are all familiar with Jenna and love to see her face. So it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm actually obsessed with the Stahls Vinyl Designer. We're super excited, super passionate about this platform being integrated onto stahls.com so that you guys can use this as well. And this designer is really here to help you. If you guys don't have a ton of experience with creating artwork, maybe you don't have that background. I know that that's how I started out. Sarah, did you start out with any artwork background at all?
Nope. Kind of learn as you go with different things.
Yeah, same. So I started in CADWorks Live, but I think this is really next level, and I love what we have done with this. Sarah, you spent a lot of time in the back end of it. So I think that, your knowledge is really going to bring a lot to this webinar. So with that, let's go ahead and kick off the class. And we're going to start with poll questions because we want to know a little bit about you guys. We love to get a feel for who our audience is, who we are speaking to today. So we're going to go ahead and launch a few of those polls. All right, so the first poll is, what challenges do you have with creating artwork? So I know, like I mentioned earlier, my hardest part was just kind of understanding what type of art I needed to be able to vinyl cut, knowing the difference between raster and vector, and then how do I actually create the vector art? So I think that CADWorks really helped me whenever we first started out with that, and now the Vinyl Designer is just really next level. So it looks like it's coming to an end here. We have, it's a pretty decent split between not having graphic art experience and just wanting to create next level designs. A few of them don't know, which different tools, what they all do. And some just don't know where to start. They started out the same way I did. All right, so you've definitely come to the right place, that's for sure. One of my favorite features of the Stahls Vinyl Designer is all of the cool templates that are so easy to just edit and change how you want them to be. All right, and we have another poll. Have you guys used the Stahls Vinyl Designer yet, or CADWorks Live? Right. Looking like, for the most part, not a lot of people have dove into those yet, which is okay. That's why we're here. All right, and to the next poll. Are you guys currently cutting your own heat transfer vinyl and vinyl designs? A lot of people that create artwork just order transfers, but some people do like to cut on their own vinyl cutter. So 75%, 74%, toggling between the two. Most of you are cutting your own designs, which is great because this platform allows you to export just about any imaginable file that you need to be able to send to your vinyl cutter. So that's awesome. And if you guys are just ordering transfers, you can upload these files and get your transfers using this artwork. And then we're just curious, what type of vinyl cutter do you use? Silhouette or Cricut, or some of you using some of those larger format cutters such as Roland and Graphtec. Right. Silhouette and Cricut, they're just kind of taken over, right?
Absolutely.
All right. Mostly everybody, 37% use Silhouette and Cricut. It's a split between Roland and Graphtech, both at 20%, and then some are using some other options. All right. I think that was our last poll. Or nope, one more. What do you guys use to create mockups? Okay. I don't have any experience with Adobe Illustrator or CorelDRAW, but I'm a big fan of Canva and Place. I love those platforms.
They're so easy to use. It's like too.
Yeah. But I think that they get overlooked. I don't think a lot of people know about Canva and Place.
And see, I'm a Corel user, but I still use a lot of Canva for just random stuff. Just so easy.
Yeah, so it looks like mostly people are using Adobe and Corel, some Canva users, a little bit of Placeit users. All right, so awesome. So that gives us a good idea of who we've got in our audience. Like I mentioned, we love to be interactive in our webinars and make sure we're answering all of your questions. So make sure you guys are commenting those things in. At this point, we're going to go ahead and dive into the Stahls Vinyl Designer. So I'm going to hand it off to Sarah so she can take it from here.
All right. Let me share my screen. Stacy, you got this to switch over to my screen?
You just have to hit the share screen icon right next to the microphone.
Got it. Sorry, I thought you were doing that part.
Nope, you're all set.
Alrighty. So let me get to Stahls homepage. So to get to the Vinyl Designer, all you can do is go to stahls.com in the homepage, and right up here, you'll see the Vinyl Designer button. It's right next to the artwork uploader. Just click it and it'll take you to the landing page of the Vinyl Designer. Tells you a little bit about it along with the video. And as long as you're logged in, it'll take you right to the designer. If you're not logged in, it'll just give you a prompt to log in. Or if you don't have an account with us yet, you can create an account from there. And the designer is free to anybody that has a Stahls account. So if you're a customer of ours, it's completely free to use. And so I'm logged in, I have my designer right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and go to full window. So this allows it to go full screen mode. And when you first launch the designer, you'll get a couple options. You can either go to right to your files, import your own, start with a template, or you can just click on anywhere and it'll just open up the designer. So we have it open and ready to go. And you'll see here, this big white area is where the design canvas is where all of your artwork and the designing will take place. And up here is your menu panel. So you'll have your file, you can add different items. You have your edit drop down where you can vectorize and edit the font, and then your arrange tool, your shapes. Can weld and slice different things, to add an effect, to zoom into items, and your panels, which is your quick access panel right here. So all of these little icons are pretty much just shortcuts of what is under the ad. So under the ad dropdown you see here is where you add the things onto your screen. So you'll find text to add, clip art, templates, different shapes, and different items to add on to. So again, these are just quick access buttons to get to the good stuff. And then what we have over here is our toolbar, which is where you'll find more of the advanced tools that we'll get into later. But let's just start off by going through the design library. So under add, let's go to templates. And here's some of our new templates that have been added. So if you see here, if you can just scroll and kind of view the different ones. So you can just scroll and scroll and scroll, or you can choose a different category to look into. So we have a couple different categories going on, such as, let's go to sports and education. So we have a couple here. and then sports and hobbies. So you can kind of go through them, look around, or you can search. So if you know you want something for a team, you can type in team, and it'll show you just the templates that relate to that keyword that you searched. And then we also have what we call a stock template, which means they're not editable. So they're ready to cut, ready to go. And you can even search stock and you'll see all of our stock templates. So these are more of your retail inspired, your fashion, the trendy stuff that's going around that you can just grab and go and cut yourself. And also in the design library, we have clip art images. So just little things to add onto your designs or to use and then create designs from. So again, same concept, different categories, or you can search. So a lot to look through. We are adding more and more every single day. So if you don't see something you're looking for, let us know or keep checking back. We are doing our best to get as much as we can for you guys to use. All right, so we are going to go ahead and start with a basic template, and we're going to go through how to just customize a super simple template. So let's go with this one. So you just have to click and it'll open on to your screen. So if you're not the Bellevue Wildcats, you can double click on the line of text and it'll prompt the text properties over here. And all you have to do is highlight and delete or start typing. So let's do Marysville. I can type right now. And then we can say that we're the Eagles. So as you can see, as you type, it'll automatically change right on your screen. And if you see how I liked how this one was kind of aligned, so you can resize by grabbing the corner tools over here like this, and you can also resize unproportionally. So you can squish and stretch as to do whatever you want. So let's do this. And to select multiple objects, you can either window them off, or you can select one and hold down your shift key and select more than one item. So now that we're the Eagles, we don't have a paw print as our mascot, of course. So we're gonna go ahead and delete that and then add a piece of clip art and go to mascots. And then let's click this eagle and it gets added to our page. And you see how I accidentally moved the eagles instead of the eagle? By doing Control Z, you can undo, or up at the top, you have your undo and your redo arrows. So I just want him, so I'm gonna select him to move him, and I'm gonna make him bigger and kind of position him there. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna window everything off and go to my arrange and click center to make sure everything's centered and looks good. So now Marysville Eagles, we're not red and gray, we're not blue and gray. Let's change it to red and black. So I'm gonna click on my Marysville, and you see how this little color square up here shows you what color is selected. So you know what is being selected. And all you have to do is click that and it'll open up your color wheel. So let's say I want to change it to red. So I'm gonna go over here and I'm gonna go up by the reds, and we can let's do a brighter red. So there we go. And then I want my eagle to be red also. So I'm gonna click on the color box. And what's awesome is down here, when you see in use, you can click on a color that's already being used, so you don't have to do that whole color thing again. So I'm gonna match to the Marysville. Then I'm gonna choose my Eagles and change it to black. So just like that, you created or you customized a template to match the project that you need it for. So from here, you can go ahead and save it. it'll save into your file folders on your own account. So if I go to open, where is it? It's already right here. So that way you can get to it later on if you want, or you can use it later or save it for another employee to use and cut.
Awesome. So Sarah has covered a lot of ground so far. So let's go ahead and visit some of the questions that came in. I'll go ahead and read some of those out for you, Sarah.
Thank you.
So Lauren asks, how do you know if a template is editable or stock?
So, good question. So in the templates, there is in the design name, the ones that can be completely customized have a C at the end of the name. And then the ones that are stock, see if there's any in. Actually, I can just do this. The ones that are stock end in a letter S. So you'll see that, oh, let me just open this really quick. So if you go to double click on these letters to change it, nothing happens because it's not a text. And then there are also ones that end in a CS, which means that some items are customizable and some are stock. So in this one, for example, the seniors design is a stock. Like I can't change the font, I can't change anything, but I can change the colors. But then down here, I can put my own school name or letters or something. So C, if the template ends in a C, that means it's completely customizable. If it ends in an S, that means it's a stock template. And then a CS means some is customizable and some is stock. So this way you guys are able to get a cool effect that is trending or popular, but still able to make it your own very easily. And you have that kind of, like for this one. So let's say you're in 4th grade. So that's completely customizable, but you don't have to worry about how to get this cool G looking. And you can add your own text and you can change the colors.
So for those of you that may already be sourcing other SVG files through other platforms that you have to pay for, this is going to work the same way, except you don't need to pay for these templates. They're in there, and then you can add your personalization or custom text to it. All right, another question from Jen, is a commercial license needed to sell products with these designs?
No, so these are, you completely have access to make anything with these designs and sell them. The only thing we ask is you don't download these designs and then sell the design as a cut file.
Great. And Jackie asks, do these designs print to size? I'm thinking she means, is it going to actually cut in the dimensions that you have plugged in there when you export, or do you have to resize in the cutter software?
So I think that always depends on the software you're using and the type of file, I believe. I know sometimes when you import like an SVG into Cricut, sometimes it kind of blows it up. But usually when you import like a PDF into a roll in a graph tech or like a PNG or some sort, it will stay the size. But you can always go back into here and see the size you have, if that makes sense.
Okay. And is there a copy and paste button within the platform?
So within this, you can either use Control C and then Control V, or you can do Control D for duplicate, or you can go up to, I think it's, which one? Sorry, now I'm forgetting. Oh, under Edit, you can duplicate from there. So either Control D for duplicate or you can go up to the under edit, or you can do Control C and then Control V, like a normal control copy paste.
Great. And one more question. Stephanie asks, can these be saved and sent to someone to print the vinyl if they do not have a vinyl cutter?
Yep. So just like how we saved that Marysville into our folders, so you can save it there and then you can export the file out. So under export, we have a bunch of different options. So you can export it out as a raster image to send to a customer or somebody as like a proof, or you can send as a vector file to use for a vinyl cutting software. So it's ready to cut and ready to go. So let's say you need someone else to cut it, you can export as an SVG or a PDF to use for a different cutter. And you can send them that file.
All right. Looks like we have most of the questions answered. I feel like we're answering a lot of questions as we're answering other ones too. Like we're covering a lot of ground as far as questions go. Just to be clear, because we did talk a little bit about CADWorks and HTV Designer. So just so you guys know, CADWorks isn't going anywhere. So if you guys have any files saved on there, you'll still be able to access them. You can still use that platform as you see fit. This is just something that's going to have a lot more features. You'll notice some similarities of CADWorks through this platform. And it's just going to have a lot of updated templates and clip art for you guys to use for your custom designs.
Yep. Okay, let's see. All right, let's get rid of this. So you can either select everything and delete, or you can just go ahead and start over and start from scratch. So since Father's Day is coming up, we are going to create a design from scratch that goes along for Father's Day. So we have a blank screen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my own line of text to the screen. So let's do lawn. And then whisper. So when you add a new line of text, it'll just pop up on your screen. And to change the type or the font style of your font, you can have your font selected or your text selected and go up to the edit and click on font. And then it will show you the entire font style list. So you can go ahead and scroll down. When you click, it'll automatically change. So you can kind of test them out as you go down. There's some fun fonts in here, some different ones. There's script, your basics, whole bunch of stuff. And this designer gets very addicting. So go ahead and play around with it once you go in there. Let's go, and you can also search fonts. So I'm looking for impact. And there's there. I'm going to do the same one for here. And to get rid of your search, you can just go back like that. Okay, so I just did that on accident. So I'm going to do Control Z to undo. But again, you can go to the back arrow. And I'm going to make this guy bigger. That. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to import. I want the lawn to have like some grass looking like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to import my own image of grass. I'm just going to go to my computer files and open an S or a JPEG file. If it'll come on. So when you upload a image, it will ask you if it's a background image. If you're planning on using whatever you're uploading as part of your design, always click no, because it's going to treat it as an object rather than a background. So you see my image comes up right here. And as you can see, it's a raster image. And up here, you can go to wireframe so you can see the cut lines. And clearly a raster image doesn't have cut lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on it and go to edit and go to vectorize. So this program, similar to CADWorks, if you've used it, you can vectorize a raster image. So you just have to go to vectorize and then follow these steps over here. So choose your background color, which is white. And now choose my foreground color for the black, and then click apply. So it'll think for a second. And then as you can see, it'll pop up here once it's done vectorizing, and you can check it by going to wireframe. So I think that looks good. We have to move these Google reviews, but we can't do it unless we do it from the full website. So I was told we're not allowed to do that. So, okay, now I have vector grass and it's a little big. So I'm going to resize it, and I'm going to take my magnifying glass to zoom into this design a little bit. Then re-click my select tool. And so in order to see this better, I'm going to turn this to like a white so I can kind of get a good visual of it. Way. Kind of resize it, reposition it how you want it. That looks pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is select my grass and my word and go under shape and click on slice. So you see how it went back to just selecting the lawn. That means it worked, it did its thing. So I'm going to just move away my grass, and you can see that it cut through the lawn. So I like to think of the slice tool as almost like a cookie cutter. Like when you make sugar cookies and you take a cutter and you cut out a shape, it's similar concept. So we have our grassy lawn, and now we have whisper, but I'm going to take this and size it down a little bit. And by double clicking on it, I can get back to my text properties, and I want the text, the letters to be spaced out. So I'm just going to increase the character spacing, just like that, until I like how it looks. Just stretch it a little bit. So I can either leave it like that, or I can add a new piece of clip art. I'm going to do under shapes and find a rectangle. And to arrange the order of object, to see how my rectangle is above the whisper, I'm going to right click and do move to back, or you can go to arrange and do the up or down also. So I'm gonna take my whisper and just change it a different color so I can see it. This bigger. I'm going to select both of these and go to arrange and do center middle. All right, and then I'm going to select everything and arrange it to make it center. Now I want this whisper to be punched through the rectangle. So for us to see it, I'm going to go to this little paint palette down here, and I'm going to change the background of my canvas just so I can see what the background image to make sure it's shown through. So with both of these selected, I'm going to go ahead and go under shape and click that slice button again. And then delete the line of text because now it is shown through. So we just made that custom design through uploading our own image to put into text. Any questions right now?
Yeah, there's one specifically from Derek that's asking, how do I import my designs from Transfer Express? And I just want to address that very quickly because Transfer Express is EasyView Designer, really great platform, but that is specifically for screen print transfers. So whatever designs, if you are creating within EasyView Designer and you are using their templates in their clip art, those cannot actually be exported so that they can then be vinyl cut. However, if you are wanting to design in this platform and upload those into EasyView Designer, you can do that. You're just going to export that as a PDF or a PNG, and you can then upload it into EasyView Designer. So any design you create in the HTV Designer will work in EasyView Designer if you want to order a screen print transfer. But vice versa, you cannot take whatever designs you created within EasyView Designer using their templates and clip art and export it to create an HTV design, right? So I answered that correctly. And then one more question from Carl. This one's for you, Sarah. Why is it whenever I use the vectorizing tool, it distorts the image? It never comes out as clean as the grass example just did.
So that all depends on the resolution of your image. So it's kind of, if you upload a really, really low resolution image, it just doesn't, it's not big enough for the software to be able to connect the dots and vectorize it. There is the option to, let me show you this one. I don't know what's making me do this twice when I think it's something to do with sharing my screen, but let's go back to vectorize. So there are these bars over here that allow you to increase kind of like the strength of the vectorizer. Actually, now that I'm doing this, I think that it doesn't work with this image, but you can try it with your image if you're still having issues with it to kind of increase the region resolution or to fit to curve. So it kind of like smooths out some of the edges that it's having trouble with. If you're having like funny different lines. I don't know if that really did much, but you can kind of play with it depending on your image. But again, it does have a lot to do with the resolution of your image. And if your resolution is above 150 DPI, that's one of the major issues because below that is pretty low of a graphic. So just be aware that it won't be able to vectorize everything perfectly if it's not a higher res image. Hopefully that answered that question.
Yeah, so what Sarah's saying here is just make sure that the resolution of your image, of your raster image being imported is a large file. I would experience the same things with just pulling something random off of Google Images if I was just looking for a random piece of clip art. One thing that helped me find larger files was within Google, just going to tools and then selecting size. And then there will be a little menu that pops up and asks you what size file you're looking for. Sarah's going to give you guys an example of that now.
So go to images, Google, and tools, and then under size, large, right? That's what you said?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, that helps to find large files so that you're importing the right type of like DPI, as Sarah mentioned. Toby, would be a lot funner if we had the same clip art you are using. No grass. So that is actually something we're going to make note of. The more that we do these, we would like for you guys to click and play along with us and create with us. So we'll make that as a mental note to include files if you need them from us, and or just recommendations of what to have on hand before we do these. So thank you, Toby, for that input. And
you get to save some stuff for us to show you how to make.
Right. And then one more question, and this is in regard to getting some type of full color. Are people able to create gradients in here? Anything like that?
Right now, we do not have that capability. We do have it on the list to add something like that, but right now we are keeping it strictly like cut files for heat transfer vinyl and your vinyls, and mainly just simple stuff and not full color. It is coming in the future. I can't really tell you when because I don't really know, but it's hopefully going to happen within a decent amount of time. So right now, no.
All right, looks like that covers it for the most part. We can keep going.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and create another design for Father's Day. So what you can do is either save this design, or right now I'm just gonna move it up to the side and create the next design right next to it. And let's go to templates, and under family, I'm going to go down. As you can see, we have a couple Father's Day designs already, but I'm going to go with this one. So instead of girl dad, we are going to change it to super dad. So again, double clicking on the line of text and just typing in your own word. And I'm going to delete this piece of clip art back here, and I'm going to add a new one. So under borders and frames, maybe? Yeah, so let's go with this guy. That. So since this is kind of like a cartoony superhero one, we're gonna move that to back, and we're gonna change this font. So again, clicking and going to edit and font. And let's do, what's this? Okay, we'll do this one. And then again, so we have our super dad, and I'm going to resize it a little bit. Just it. And then what I'm going to do is select both lines of text, and I'm going to group them. So now they move as one object. And then under effects, I'm going to go to add new, and I'm going to add an envelope. So under our effects tools, we have a bunch of different ways to kind of distort text or edit text or add on to text. So you see a couple bookend stuff. This is where you would add an arch or an arc, a contour or a combined contour, like an outline. And then there's a bunch of different envelopes. And then we have our gap outline and shadow. So there's a bunch of cool stuff in the effects. And again, we're going to show a couple of them. But for this one, let's add an envelope to it. What does this look like? Sure, we can go with this one. So as you can see, it automatically applied the effect onto the text. So I'm going to show you one of these advanced tools. So you could either leave it like that, or you can go over here and click on the envelope. So this is the edit envelope tool. So it only works with the objects that have the envelope effect on it, or it puts one on there once you click it. So to get a good visual, I'm going to zoom into here. And by clicking on the envelope edit, you can completely customize what you want the text to do. So if you want it to be kind of like this, if you want it to fit into a certain shape, you can do that. And you can completely distort it however you want. Let's just do kind of. And then keep in mind, when you're on this editing tool, you cannot undo. So to undo, you will have to click your select tool and then click the text. Sorry, click the text, and then you can undo. So again, you cannot undo and redo if you have the tool active. It's just part of how it works and how it's programmed. So again, you can completely have fun with it. You can do whatever you want. You can delete them and distort it however you want. So it really lets you have complete customization for the effect. And so we're gonna slice it like this, and then we're gonna add another effect of a shadow. So if you can see, that gray is the shadow that's automatically applied. And by clicking under effects, by clicking the shadow, you'll be able to edit it. So this is how the effects work to edit it. This little bar will be over here, and you can just scroll up or down to edit it and to adjust how much the effect is applied and how much, like the angle and all of that. So just like if I were to do a contour, let me edit this for just to show you one more. So I just added a contour on it. I'm able to just adjust the contour just like that by scrolling up and down with my mouse. It just makes it super, super easy rather than trying to type in the exact number I want for the offset or contour and for the arches and everything like that. And if you don't like that effect, you can go back up to your effects drop down and then just delete it. So let's do this. And then I'm going to change the colors of this. Now if you notice, I have this whole thing selected, and this color box up here is that rainbow. That is telling you that you have multiple colors selected. So by clicking that, you'll see up here that it'll show you the colors that you have selected. And by clicking on the color you want to change, you can then change it from there. So it's a super easy way to change an object with multiple colors in one step. So we're going to change this gold to match that blue. And then we're going to go to where the black letters, and let's do maybe like a goldie. And now we do plan on adding like more of like a color palette where like you have the squares to click rather than this, just the color wheel, to help it easier on mobile. So yeah, so that's one way to do that. And to make it, if we're looking at it in wireframe, that looks awful to cut. Like we cannot cut that, it'll just be terrible. So what we're gonna do to break this all apart, under shape, you can break apart by color. And now I have the colors separated. And then I'm going to click on the background, the shadow background that we added. So I can see I have that selected. And then click my frame. And under shape, I'm going to go to weld. So I'm going to weld those two items together. So as you can see, now that's a lot easier to cut with my vinyl cutter. And then now I have that design done. So to look at both of my designs, I'm gonna bring them over here. And then this pan tool, I'm able to move stuff around my screen. If you're like me and have a bunch of stuff on your screen at one time, it's just easy to navigate it. And so now what I'm gonna do, well, I guess first, do we have any questions?
Yeah, can you show real quick one more time how you separated the drop shadow from the original text?
Mm-hmm. So let me.
It just kind of happened a little fast, and we have.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. So, do you think it's easier to see in wireframe or not wireframe?
Not wireframe, I think.
So, let me go back one more. Okay, so the shadow is still connected to my text. And I'm going to position it again. And so when you have this selected, you're going to go up to shape. And then I'm going to do break apart by color because I want the yellow separated from the blue. So now it's separated.
Great.
And then I'm going to take that blue and again weld it with the other part of the frame. So I have both selected and back up to shape and click on weld. So the shape drop down is basically all of your tools to get ready to cut. Like you have your breaking apart, you have your welding, your slicing, make it a show through, and all of that good stuff.
Okay, and you might understand this a little bit better, but Leonard White is asking, can you text to path? Like text to a path.
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, can you text to a path?
So I think he means like putting the text to a path, like if you have like a squiggle, it'll go to the squiggle or a circle or something. And right now it's not. But that is something good to add, so I will note that.
All right, and some are asking if this is going to be available to watch later. Yes, you will be able to watch this on the Stahls TV YouTube channel. We'll be uploading that so you guys can revisit this and not have to miss out on anything if you can't stick around.
And I know that we're covering a lot of stuff in this, so my biggest advice is to just go in here and try some things out for yourself because you'll learn stuff as you go. You'll see how things work. You'll like a certain process that you do better than we do. So if you just go ahead and go in and play and then watch our videos and all of that, because there's just a lot to it.
And one more question before we move on. Robert asked, why the weld option instead of slicing it?
So I welded this instead of slicing it because I wanted this to be one solid piece. It would be different if I had the super or the shadow of that a different color than my frame. And I wanted it to just butt up to each other and not overlap. But I wanted this to be one solid cut piece. So it was one solid cut piece to cut and I just have one layer on top of it. Hopefully that made sense.
Yep, makes sense. All right, so just to review really quickly, the Vinyl Designer is on stahls.com. So all you have to do is visit the website and it is in the upper right-hand corner next to the artwork uploader. You will see Stahls Vinyl Designer. And as long as you have an account with us, you guys have access to using all of this for free. So there is no charge for this. You guys have complete full access to this web-based design platform. Anything else, Sarah, that you want to add?
For that, nope.
All right.
We ready to go forward?
Yep.
Okay. So I have my two designs And now I want to create a quick mock-up. So let's say you want to just see how it looks on a shirt, or you want to send it to a customer to get approval of so they know what it looks like. And you can either put it all on one screen, or you can do a second page. So by clicking this plus sign down here, it will open a second page. And by selecting all of this, because I want to keep all of my cut stuff on one page and then my mockups on page 2. So what you can do is by right clicking, you can rename and then put mockups or mockup. And that way you have your cut stuff and then your mockup. So I want all of this to go on page 2 as well. So I'm going to select and do Control C. And then click on the page 2 and click on my page and click or do Control V. So again, Control C to copy and then Control V to paste onto the second page. So I have my designs again, and now I'm going to add a background. So what you can do is you can go under Add and click on Backgrounds. And we have a bunch of different apparel options, from t-shirts to onesies, to a bag, long sleeves, and then also wood grain textures and some toddler stuff. So you can either choose something that we have in our library, or you can upload your own background. Like if you have a blank item from Sanmar or another wholesale place, you can save that image and upload it into the designer to use as a background. So let's go with just do this gray one. So by clicking it, it'll open on and over here. And then you can resize your image to what you think it'll look like or how you want it to look like. And then since we're doing lawn, we can change it. I'm going to change it to green. I don't know why it's not all changing together, but do this to mimic that. So there, we have one mock-up completed. And since I want to give this customer 2 options, I'm going to move that over and I'm going to duplicate this shirt. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this shirt again and click on lock. So this way your image is locked and you're not trying to grab something while moving the shirt. It just makes it a whole lot easier to lock your backgrounds. So we're going to put the super dad over here. And so then you have your 2 options. But let's say that I want to offer this design on a different colored shirt. You can either choose a different color shirt to put on, or you can have select it and then go up to your edit and click on HSL shift, which will adjust your hue, saturation, and light. So if you just kind of play around with this, it'll change the color of the image. So it's kind of like a play and see type thing. Sometimes certain images don't work as well, certain colors don't work as well, but this will just help if you need a quick visual of something, or if you like that you don't have an image of, or you don't want to re-upload, you can go into here and do it easily. So
if customers want to use these mock-ups on their website, are they able to?
Yep. So you can go ahead and export it out and use it as an image for your website, the product image. And I will show you that right now. Zoom out. And then I'm going to do a quick wood grain background. So you can kind of get a nice realistic image. can add your shop's branding to this by uploading it and adding it in like the corner of the wood. And so let's say I want these two to be together on the product image or approved to the customer. So you can overlap them like this. So they have a transparent background. And then you can go up to File and Export. And I'm going to do a raster image. So I will do a PNG. And we can do Father's Day. And when you export as a raster image, it'll ask you what DPI you want. I usually just go with 150, especially if you're putting it on your website. You don't want a crazy good resolution. So I usually 150 is my go-to. And if you can always say if you want a watermark. So you could just type in your own watermark, or you could do like your website. And then by clicking export, it will export your design out. Okay, let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. It did 2 files because I have 2 pages. So it will export them out as separate files if you have multiple pages. So let's see. I don't know. Can you see that image? I don't know if you can because of I'm on the.
No, it's not popping up where there it is. Oh, you just had it. Now it's going.
Can you see that?
There we go. Yep.
Okay, it looks like I use that HSL shift. It put a box around this, so I'll have to look into that. But this gives you an idea that you can export your mockups out. And you can see that the watermark that it put on, so no one can take it and redo it. Like here's these logos. And again, you can see the watermark over it. So someone can't just go ahead and use it for themselves.
It's just awesome to be able to have these marketing tools right in this platform.
Exactly. Like especially for like Etsy account, for Spirit Sale, anything like that, you can quickly use these and pop them up there very fast. Okay, so we're going to go back to, I guess, do we have any questions? We're almost done with this one.
Looks like we're getting all the questions answered through chat, so you can just keep on going.
Perfect. Okay, and so again, you can, if I just want to stop what I'm doing and save this, I can go ahead and save it to my own folder to access later. And then let's say I'm going to just go ahead and this is the design I want to cut and make an actual shirt of. So let's see, by selecting it, you can figure out the size of it by the corner over here. It will tell you the dimensions of what's selected. You can either size it by the arrows like we talked about, or by clicking here, you can go ahead and type in the size that you want and it will change it. Or you can go to, let's go with, why am I forgetting where it is? So under edit, if you click size to fit, you can save a certain type of size that you want. Like I have full front, left chest, and a softball in there. So you can go ahead and, like if I want a unisex full front, I can put in my dimensions. Let's go, I don't know, 11 and a half. Whatever this is, it'll go proportionate, but you just have to put in something there. And why isn't this working there? Oh, there. Add. So now I can go in and click on the size that I want it to, and it'll automatically size. So if you, if your store, you personally, like only do full front designs and left chest for certain things, you can program them into your account. So no matter if you or whoever goes into the account to get a design, you have these sizes in there already and ready to resize your design. So it's a nice little easy thing to do. If you're like, oh, how big should this left or this full front be? You can go ahead and name it whatever you want, specific to a job or a apparel, and use it going forward. So, okay, so you saw how to save your design, resize it. And now we're gonna go ahead and let's just, for right now, we're gonna delete this because I want to just start over with the cut file. Delete that. And to export it, we're gonna export. And for me, I use a Cricut, and I know Jenna uses it too. So Cricut software does great for SVG files. So you can click on the SVG to download. If you're a Silhouette user, DXF file type is great for a Silhouette. And for if you have Vector Cut, if you've used, I think you can download it through CADWorks. We have the option to as a VCut file type, which then you can upload right into Vector Cut. So Vector or VCut files only work for Vector Cut, and Vector Cut only works with VCut files, if that makes sense. So you do have the option to use Vector Cut with a VCut file. And, or you have, of course, PDF that is very universal and works with a whole bunch of different things, or you can do it as a raster. But for our use today, Jenna is gonna go ahead and cut and show you guys how to like just go through the process of cutting, heat applying with this logo. So I'm gonna click on SVG and just like that, and clicking export. So that file will automatically export out of the Stahls Vinyl Designer and save to your computer downloads or your device downloads. And then you have that design ready to go. And I think that's about it. And
thank you, Sarah. So Sarah has already sent me the file in an SVG, which I was able to bring up right into Cricut, which I'm going to be showing you guys using my iPad, and we're going to walk through the rest of the process. So anytime we're working with heat transfer vinyl, obviously the first portion is to design it, which Sarah has done a great example of in the HTV Designer. At this point, we're just going to cut it out, weed it, and then heat apply it. So if you guys already know that process and how those steps work, you guys, definitely benefited from all of the stuff we reviewed in the HTV Designer. If you guys want to stick around, feel free. But if you guys have to head out, that's fine too. A couple more questions before I get into the cutting and heat application. We have Robert asking, what would you use for GCC or GraphTech? Anytime that I export a file and I'm using software that runs with GraphTech or Roland or even GCC, I export as a PDF. That's always worked best for me to be able to hold those cut lines. That way I don't have to worry about trying to re-vectorize or anything like that. So PDF. Do keep in mind too, because I know there's some users on with us that are not vinyl cutting yet, which is totally okay. Any of those files that you can export as can be uploaded through our artwork uploader, the screen print, Easy View Designer uploader. So any of those files work except for Vector Cut. Okay, so just keep that in mind. The VCut option listed under CADWorks is only compatible with Vector Cut, but any of those other files are going to work great for ordering your transfers. All right, so let me go ahead and bring up Cricut Design Space on my iPad here. So what it's asking me right now is how am I uploading my image? I'm just going to go to my already uploaded images. As I mentioned, Sarah sent me this file earlier. So it's already in my library. So I'm just going to select that and go to Insert. And as you can see, there is no vectorizing that I need to do, no tracing or anything like that. So for those of you that may be working with a silhouette and you have to go through that tracing process, as long as you are exporting as a DFX, am I saying that right, Sarah?
DXF.
DXF. All right.
Close.
So as long as you're exporting as a DXF, that's going to work just fine in Silhouette Studio. Cricut Design Space is going to be the SVG file. All right, so I'm just sizing this down in my canvas. The question did come up earlier on whether or not it's going to come up true to size is how you exported it. I don't know if you guys noticed whenever I did import this, it did come up smaller, and those were the dimensions that Sarah had exported it as. So if you are sizing it within the HTV Designer and you export it as those exact dimensions and export it as an SVG, and you're not doing any tracing at all, it's going to show up as those exact dimensions. If you export it as a PNG or a raster image and you're going through that tracing step, it's going to blow it up really big. So the beauty of the HTV Designer is that it has the exact files you need to be able to export and utilize in all of these other softwares, making it a lot easier on you for this step because you've already went through all of that work in the artwork creation. Right, so this is really hard to do upside down. So, all right, so we are at, where are my dimensions listed at? Right, I'm just gonna turn this around right now. Okay, so we have our dimensions here. I am working with, I'm gonna go to like 9.5 inches in width. So we are doing a large t-shirt. I am cutting fashion film electric. I already have that loaded on to my cutting mat, right? So let me move over to the side here so that you guys can see. This is the Cricut here. I have the fashion film electric loaded on. For those of you that aren't cutting heat transfer vinyl yet, we always mirror our design. So that's an additional step that you have to use in any software that you are uploading your artwork with. So Cricut is amazing about this. A lot of other cutter softwares do prompt you to mirror your design or just ask you if you want it mirrored before you send your design to cut. Heat transfer vinyl is just one of those things that you have to definitely make sure that you are mirroring your design. At that point, I'm just hitting continue on my screen. And this is Bluetooth connected. So it's already connected to my cutter. Now it's just making sure that I'm having the right settings set up. So the Cricut has a little dial on the right-hand side, and I have that setting set to iron on. And now at this point, all I have to do is press go, and it's going to send that design to cut for me. It's on a little 12 by 12 cutting mat, which is just keeping the heat transfer vinyl in place as we send that design to cut. All right, so while that's cutting, I'll go ahead and visit some comments and questions.
There are some, Jenna, that I can read to you that I have written down.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, so a lot of people were wondering with the different file formats, if they have the Silhouette Business Edition, is SVG files still okay?
I haven't worked with the business one. If they are already using SVG files in that part of it, there's no reason it shouldn't work. So if you're already using SVG files and that's what you want to use for Silhouette, then export it as an SVG. It's going to work the same way as the DXF does, or DFX.
And
DXF.
I think
I can't remember.
I know there's so many. I think with the Silhouette Business Edition, you're able to import PDF files. Don't quote me, but you're able to do one other file besides DXF. So you have the option to use SVG or PDF with your Silhouette Business Edition.
And then do you guys know about the Titan 3? What kind of files would export to that, or is that something we'd have to look up?
PDF should work, but I have not personally worked with the Titan. I don't know about you, Sarah.
I can look it up right now.
And then any of the designs that you're showing with the Vinyl Designer today, can those be sent to a sublimation printer?
Yep, you can export and have it printed.
So what's nice about sublimation is it's raster image, so you don't have to worry about exporting as a cut file. You can just export it as a PNG is what I would recommend, so there's no background there. And then you can just go ahead and print that off right on your sublimation printer.
Okay, perfect.
Back to the Titan 3 question, it looks like you can import an SVG or PDF file. So again, you have 2 options to use as an export.
And then just a few more, trying to rapid fire because I know there were a few coming in. Brian wanted to know, Jenna, for portability's sake, is the web page working well on the iPad since you were just using your iPad? Okay.
Yeah, and I actually was using the HTV Designer on the iPad as well. It fits perfectly to the screen right on Stahls.com. I just find it very easy to use with the pen. So try that out. It's going to work the same exact way. It doesn't like manipulate anything crazy. But I was good. Sarah's right. You can spend a lot of time in the Designer. I like fell down a rabbit hole like Friday.
It's so easy. And the Vinyl Designer also works on mobile devices. So if you want to need a design and you only have your phone available, you can go to Stahls.com on your phone and access the Designer that way. And it works the same way, just some of the tools are in different locations, but it's very easy to navigate.
And I love the drag up and down to change like the widths of contour or the offset of drop shadows and things like that. Using that.
So nice.
Easy. So I'm just doing the weeding process real quick. This is just for those of you that aren't cutting your own heat transfer vinyl yet. It's just peeling away the excess material from the carrier and exposing the design so that we can go and heat apply it. And if you guys haven't seen the A to Z heat press yet, that is the heat press we're going to be using to heat apply this. And the material I'm working with is Fashion Foam Electric. This is one of the new colors that recently launched. It is the olive. So it has a little bit of a metallic finish to it. And honestly, it's the only green that I had. So that's why I picked it. But it's going to look cool. We're going to put it on a black t-shirt, a Bella Canvas tee, and it's going to look good because of that metallic finish. So that's it, all weeded out.
I love that.
Yeah, it turned out really nice. I think it's going to look good on the black. I was a little iffy about it because it's a darker color, but I think it's going to turn out okay. All right, so I'm going to get you guys closer to the heat press a little bit. Let me move my coffee before that spills. All right. So, like I mentioned, this is the A to Z heat press. Complete swing away feature for the heating element. This is my craft paper cover sheet that we're going to be using to protect our garment. But first step is to get the t-shirt nice and flat on there. And I can do that entirely with the threadability of the heat press. So I'm just opening that up. Anytime I work with heat transfer vinyl or just heat transfers in general, I do a quick preheat to prep my garment. And I'm just going to take my design and place that right on there. And before I heat apply it, I'm going to cover with a cover sheet. And now I'm just going to lock that down. So Fashion Foam Electric, 320 degrees for 15 to 20 seconds. My heat press, once it's locked down, does all of that work for me. And then Fashion Foam is a hot peel. So I can just go ahead and remove this carrier as soon as that application is complete. I did not get enough pressure, looks like. So I'm going to have to hit this one more time. But that's okay. Heat transfer vinyl is one of those products that is forgiving if you make a mistake. So I'm going to increase my pressure and just hit this one more time, just to make sure it secures on there and doesn't come off in the wash. 15 seconds seems like a lot longer of a time whenever you're heat pressing. All right. So that is the completed look.
Oh, I love that Alabama black.
Yeah, it did turn out really good. So start to finish, Sarah showed you how to create this design using the HTV Designer. Job well done, Sarah. First webinar. Great job.
Thank you, Jenna. I try to channel my inner Jenna before I have to talk.
That's great. I love that. All right. So any more questions, Sarah, or not Sarah, Stacy?
Yes, there were 2 questions left, Sarah, that you could probably answer. From earlier, when you showed the example with the watermark overlay, is there any way to customize the watermark to make it darker?
Not that I know of yet, but I can look into that because I have been wanting to see if we can change like the text of it too.
Okay.
But I will find that out.
And then the other question I saw from earlier, if somebody found a font that they liked on a font website, is there any way they can incorporate that into the Vinyl Designer, or can you only use the fonts that are built into it?
So right now you can only use the fonts that are available within the Stahls Vinyl Designer. That's where CADWorks does differ. You're able to import your own text to use, but our Vinyl Designer, we don't have that capability yet.
Okay. And those were the questions I saw from earlier.
I'm loving all the positive energy coming from the chat section.
Yeah, it's good to
Everyone's like,
hear.
awesome webinar. This is great. Amazing. Sarah, you did great. Let's get a round of applause for you.
I don't do this ever, you guys. So
she does great. That's what she. All right. Well, if you guys happen to have any other questions, feel free to comment those in. We will stick around after the webinar and make sure we're getting everything answered. But we want to thank you guys so much for joining us for the webinar. We love having you guys on with us and interacting with us. We are super happy that you guys are loving the new HTV Designer as much as we are. I do want to say we are very new to this designer. So anything that you guys would love to see in the designer, definitely give us that feedback. That's always something that we take into consideration as we grow a new platform. So love hearing ideas. Thank you guys for sharing with us some that you had today and asking questions. It's what keeps these webinars fun and interactive. Sarah, you have anything else to add?
Again, just thanks everybody. We had fun doing this. And just like Jenna said, if you have anything that you'd want to see or have questions, please let us know. I have a running list of constantly for this designer because we want it to be the best tool possible. But again, it's very new. So we're trying to keep improving it for you guys and have tools and designs available. So yeah, let us know and thank you guys again.
See you guys next time.